Stations down the line. Stations down the line. All right, you go ahead anytime you're ready, Al. You and Bry, go.
And welcome into the Garza Law Tennessee basketball overtime for the first time officially this season as Tennessee cruises to a 76-61 victory over the Mercer Bears. Alex Myers in here with you in place of Tony Basilio tonight. We had a little pre-production meeting a moment ago, got some of his thoughts, and you'll hear mine. You'll hear Brian Hartman's who's joining us, and hopefully either Mr. C, potentially Matt Dixon, will stop by. But we're here because of you. We want you to stop by, and we'll take your calls, hear from you. We'll go over some stats. But again, the main thing we want to get to is your calls. If you'd like to join us tonight, if you're over on YouTube or if you're listening to us on Twitter Spaces or through the app or at tclub.team, however you're listening to us, if you'd like to hear your voice heard, just give us a call, 865-200-5402. 865-200-5402 is the number. Brian Hartman, before we go to the phones, I want to get your thoughts on tonight, a night where the Vols are led by Nate Ament in scoring, 18 points for the freshman. And Gillespie did some nice things as well, but it was not the picturesque start to the season that some of us were expecting or certainly hoping to see. I think the line was up near 30. Tennessee wins by 15 points. So certainly underwhelming is a little bit a term that you could use, but it should not exactly be shocking when you consider that this is a team that has been thrown together. Just thrown together is the wrong way to put it, but Tony used the phrase a moment ago, kind of like an expansion team. In this era, in the transfer portal, when you've got so many new faces on a team, it's natural to expect that this team is going to take a little bit of time to gel. I know Tennessee has been ragged nationally by some folks on the weak schedule at the start of the season. So thankfully, Tennessee's got a couple more games to kind of tune up before the big tournament here in a couple of weeks. Again, Tennessee wins. Final score 76-61. You're listening to the Garza Law Tennessee basketball overtime here on the Basilio platforms. Brian Hartman, as I bring you in before we go to the phones, your thoughts on tonight's performance from the Vols?
Well, you've got a lot of new players, and they have to learn how to play together some. So it isn't surprising that sometimes that can look a little bit disjointed. And I think it did. They had 19 turnovers in the game and still won by 15. If they cut that down to 10, they probably come close to pulling the line there, as Mercer only committed, they only committed 5. Mercer played really well. They didn't shoot well, but they only committed 5 turnovers in a hostile environment. So credit goes to them, but Nate Ament, I think he really played more under control this time. He was 6 of 11 from the floor, 18 points, very efficient. I would like to see Tennessee take advantage of their size some. They did in the first half, but I need to see them get to the point where they can get to the line and make some free throws and get some free points that way. And they got to make them, of course. So all in all, I'll just have to say, hopefully they can look a lot better when they play their second game. So they've got 5 days to improve and take on the Northern Kentucky on Saturday.
Yeah, and I think one thing that was interesting, and we'll probably have some callers discuss it, is it's also hard to tell what's real when you're looking at a discrepancy like this because, as we saw in the Duke game kind of late, Tennessee was kind of fiddling with and fooling with their lineups at times. I mean, a guy like Carey, you saw his minutes when it kind of got down to crunch time there in the last – I think it was around the 4 or 5 minute, 6 minute mark when Mercer made a run and called a timeout, and then Rick Barnes kind of got Carey and a couple of those other guys out of there, and we saw what I think will be your more of your actual rotation towards the end with Okpara, Estrella, Ament, Gillespie, those type of guys in there. And a lot of these kind of rotation bit players were not in there towards the end. So again, it's interesting, but certainly a game Tennessee clearly needed because they've got some kinks they've got to work out. Let's go back to the phones as we've promised. Brian, you want to guess who our first caller will be?
Well, I'm going to go and say probably a Nega Dave.
Let's go on a limb
or
here.
Nega somebody.
Let's see who we got. Who we got here, caller?
Hey, guys, Dave.
Welcome in, Dave.
We don't have any guards. We don't have anybody. We have no guards. And if that's the kind of play you're going to get out of Gillespie, that's about a 5-win SEC win team. That's how bad Gillespie was tonight. That's how bad he was bad against Duke. He's sucks. He sucked tonight.
I mean, he didn't shoot the ball well, but I thought he. I mean, he obviously turned the ball.
He bad turnovers.
He turned the ball over too much, but he did some nice things. But I just refuse to think that the Gillespie you've seen tonight and through 2 games, we'll say, at the Duke. I just don't think that's the Gillespie. That's the real Gillespie.
He got yanked so many times tonight, it's not even funny. He got yanked off that floor so many times. And this deal about, you're just putting a team together, that's every college basketball team in America. It's getting thrown together and have played with each other. I don't even know. I watched their skinny 6'8", 9" guy down low abuse our guys inside on the post up.
You talking about the mighty?
Y'all not see that?
You talking about the mighty guy?
Talking about the guy from Mercer down low.
Yeah, he was impressive.
Yeah, he abused our guys. I don't know. You spent $4 million on Ament. Yeah, he played okay. But I would have spent that money much more wiser and gone out and got a proven 2-guard, and a guy that can create off the dribble. They got nobody that can create off the dribble. Now maybe Ament can because his size, but anytime you depend on a freshman, that's not good. I'm sorry. These are men now. All these teams are old.
Duke depended on a freshman last week, and it worked out.
Well, they had one last year too. He's just a freak, And they had the guy they had last year. Those are so few and far between. Our guy weighs about $170. I'm sorry. I called in last year, first game, and they didn't look good. They look better than this, and it just may be Barnes last year, and this is one of his worst teams because that Carey guy looks dysfunctional.
Dave, you don't believe that guy's. I mean, that guy played more minutes in Akpara. That's not real. I mean, which is again why I'm with you on some of the stuff you're saying. I just don't know how much of that is real because in a real SEC game, that guy's not playing 16. That guy's not playing more than Akpara. I mean, he's just not. If he is,
how many times did he miss inside, and how many times did he get the ball taken out of his hand? I mean, and then can we stop with this deal of posting up Akpara? Because he cannot turn around and shoot. That's not his game. His game is you lob it up to him for a dunk, and that's it. Well, now he's hitting 3-pointers, but his game is a dunker. That's it. He's not a guy that you can throw the ball down the post and he can make a dribble, turn the shoulders, and bank it in. He's horrible at that. He's a dunker or a 3-point shooter now.
Well, Dave, I appreciate the call. All right.
All right, guys.
All right,
good
thanks.
night.
Brian, I disagree with some of what Dave said. I thought Akpara, to me, in the Duke game, showed me some stuff that it looked to me like he had improved offensively. I mean, the guy's never going to be a go out there and get you 20 with the back to the basket guy, but to me, he looked like he's shown some improvement, and it is a little bit more than just a go up and dunk the ball guy. Am I missing something there?
Yeah, I thought he really took a step forward in that game, and that was against better competition than tonight. So I don't know, really. He got in foul trouble early in this game, and he had to go out on the bench, and Carey had to come in and pick up some of the slack. But I don't think I think I believe what I saw against Duke more than I would believe what I saw tonight. If he can do that against Duke, he'll be fine.
I tend to agree. I believe what I see against Duke much more is much more real than what I see when Barnes is kind of out there doing bits to me in a game like this. And I don't blame Barnes for that. I'm not blasting the guy. I mean, I think a game like this is where you get some of these younger guys some experience and you kind of toy with things. But I just don't. I mean, if Barnes is trying to win that game by as many points as he can, you're not playing Carey 16 minutes. I'm not trying to rip the guy, but that's just a different level of player from what I've seen. Let's get back to the phones. 865-200-5402. We got a full bank of calls, but as soon as one caller drops, you can dial that number and get in here on the Garza Law Tennessee Basketball Overtime. Welcome into our next caller.
What's up, Alex?
What's up, Philly? Good to hear from you.
How you and Brian doing?
Doing well, doing well. I'm glad basketball is back, especially with how the weekend went. Couldn't have come at a better time.
Well, I'm watching a real game right now, Arizona and Florida. Arizona's ahead by 8 with 2 minutes left. But tonight was, I guess, our basketball team watched Hopple's coach, and they played like it.
Well, we saw some turnovers, and we saw some questionable offense at times. There's no question.
I think Amari Abram, he can't play a lick. I don't know. Henderson ought to get more playing time at guard. He actually shows he can hit a shot and he can handle the ball. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, the strength of the team, we've got to go inside out. We're not doing it.
No.
We did a little bit there and brief stretches, but our guard play is erratic at best.
Well, I think, and it feels like we say this every year, and maybe it's just because this is the type of basketball I prefer, but it feels like we say this every year that Barnes teams, if they want to be successful, they're going to need to get up and down the court and run a little bit more than they typically do.
I agree with that.
I think particularly this year, though, with Ament, like Ament's a good player, like he's got all his potential. I get it, and he can shoot threes, he can do all this. From what I saw tonight, and just looking at his body and his basketball skill set, to me, I think that guy is most comfortable and most dangerous in the open floor in transition because, again, he's a talented scorer, but I think he is an even more talented playmaker. You saw him hit a couple guys with passes tonight they weren't ready for, but that guy is an absolute nightmare if he's got the ball on a 3-on-2 break. To me, and with bigs that are athletic, you saw Cade Phillips getting up tonight. They run. Estrella's body's in good shape. He can run. Okpara, we know he's a rim runner. To me, as fast as Gillespie is, I just think this team, when it gets cutting time, if you will, to me this is a team that they need to take every advantage they can and get out and run and at every opportunity, especially when Ament's on the floor.
Well, one thing hurt us tonight was our rebounding. Mercer's killing us on the offensive boards there, and that's another reason we couldn't run because they're getting all the rebounds.
Yeah, Tennessee out-rebounded Mercer 16-13 on the offensive boards, but overall Tennessee did a much better job. 54-32 was the total in the rebounds. But you talk about fast break and points off
turnovers.
Well, but points off turnovers, Philly. Tennessee only had 8. Mercer had 16.
Yeah. Well, I guess Rome wasn't built in a day, is it?
No, and I know what Dave says. Everybody's like that. Well, that's fair, but we're not comparing Tennessee to ever. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like I think it's just a very natural thing that you're not going to look your sharpest tonight. I don't think they'll look their sharpest Saturday. I think part of that, Philly, is it's hard, and you know this as a basketball guy. It's hard for guys to get. Basketball's a very rhythmic sport. It's hard to get in a rhythm when you're getting pulled in and out, and coaches are trying to find playing time for 10, 11 guys. It's hard. So I don't know until the games get real that you're going to see some of these guys play their best basketball.
Looked like Bishop Boswell finally looked a little bit halfway decent tonight, especially on defensive end.
Well, he had 5 points. Defense is where he's going to make it. If he's going to play, he's going to have to play it on defense because he's not the most talented offensive guy. But for a guard, he pulled in 8 rebounds tonight. I kind of ripped Carey a little bit earlier, but he finished with 8 and 10. So those were 2 of the guys that really did some things. But yeah, Boswell. It's unfortunate, but it does feel like, Philly, you're kind of playing 4-on-5 on offense when he's out there. So he's going to have to make his mark defensively.
And, next year, I'll just let Jalen Carey play football. We could use him on the line of scrimmage. He's a big old guy.
Yeah, give him a couple months with Rodney Garner's program. I think you'd like your chances. He's certainly built like him.
All right, guys, hang in there.
All right, appreciate you, Philly. Yeah, clearly the one standout tonight. I mean, Nate Ament with 18 and 9, nearly a double-double in his opening game. Went one for 4 from 3, but you saw the ability. I think it was Dave last Sunday, Brian, that was kind of ragging on his ability to shoot. And I'm telling you, Nate Ament can shoot the ball. And believe it or not, I know it hasn't shown through 2 games, but Gillespie's a really talented scorer too. Brian, I still think balls in the hands of Gillespie if you need a bucket down the stretch of a game at this point. Maybe Ament becomes that guy. Maybe Estrella becomes that. But right now, I think Gillespie's the guy to go to if the game's on the line.
And he shot 40% from 3 against Big Ten competition. So I'm not worried about him. Now, I think he'll make his mark sooner than later, much, much sooner than later. And really, it comes down to if you just cut your turnovers in half, you probably come close to covering the spread. You probably win by 25 plus if you can just say committed 9 or 10 turnovers instead of committing 19. Yeah. And I like for Boswell, I think he does do some things. He's undersized, but he kind of played bigger than his size suggested when he got a few and fought for some rebounds there against in stages where they were kind of struggling to get rebounds.
Let's go back to the phones. Hello and welcome into our next caller. Thanks for being there.
Good evening, gentlemen. It's Pete in St. Louis. How we doing?
Doing well, Pete.
I want to start by thanking you guys for even doing this show. It's so early in the season. The competition is not great, but it's great to get on and talk Tennessee basketball early and learn the team. Two things I'd like to just get your feedback on. Can you talk a little bit about the depth? None of us really know the team that well unless you're really there close following it because of the NIL and picking up players all the time. And then in reference to that, a follow-up to that would be, what do you all, as of today, see when he shrinks the bench? What do you think the 7 most dominant guys will be that he'll be putting out there?
I mean, I think, Pete, obviously down low you're going to have Okpara. I'm trying to count here. I was a communications major, so don't get mad at me if I throw like 9 names at you. I think you're going to have Okpara, Estrella, and Bry jump in whenever you like. Ament, obviously. Gillespie, obviously. Those 4 are pretty solid. I think they really like this Brown guy as a freshman. Down low, kind of as maybe that 3rd guy. Obviously, Phillips is going to play a lot of minutes, so there's 4 or 5 guys. I think the biggest question to me, Pete, is who is going to be the backup point guard and who is going to be, I guess, Berg, but who is going to be the 2 guard? Because I think our last caller pointed it out that I think it was Philly. Abram, to me in that Duke game, Abram looked promising. Tonight he did not. 0 of 2, just did not play very well. But kind of your other options, what is it, Henderson, and then I guess at the end there, Evans got in a little bit. I think that's the biggest question, Pete, is who is going to fill those minutes behind Gillespie and then at the 2 guard. Because I think in the front court you're pretty solid with, you got 4 or 5 guys that can go there, and that's kind of not even with me mentioning Carey.
Right, and Carey looked good, really. He's a big guy. I didn't realize how big he was, and even next to some of the other guys, he's thick built. So it sounds like he can be a good presence down there. It looks like it tonight, but obviously guard was our thing, and then you get the turnovers and how much is that tied into those 2 things you mentioned, those 2 question marks. But it looked like just tonight the depth seemed more than I remember in past years at everywhere else. If that's fair to say.
I think it is, but again, I mean, how much of that is real? And I know I'm not necessarily answering the question. I'm answering a question with a question, but it's just, to me, it's hard. We're going to find out so much more here in a few weeks when we've got this tournament coming up, because in a game like this, you've got to see what you've got. You've got to see how different pieces gel together. So I do agree. To me, I think this is going to be one of Barnes' deeper teams for sure down low, maybe his deepest. But I think at that 2 guard is what scares me of any on this team. Somebody's going to have to step up. I know Boswell, it seems like they trust the guy, but I mean, offensively, I don't think that you can go to the heights that this team wants to go to if you're playing 4-on-5 offensively. Now, can Abrams be that guy? I don't know. That's my big concern with this team.
Yep, I think that's going to be seen and played out. I will say this: it was great tonight to see that one constant in the world, one constant in the universe. If you do something wrong, Rick Barnes is going to coach you like heck on the sideline because he yanked some guys and he was getting into them. And in a game like that early in the year, that's just great to see. But that's just who he is. So, hey, and kudos to those kids for taking tough coaching because he gives it to them.
Hey, I appreciate you. Yeah, unless your name's Vescovi or Vescovi, you pretty much got a short lease. I mean, the guy, Brian, do you think the guy would like yank Michael Jordan out for a turnover in Game 7?
Well, he had either it was, I think Schofield or Grant Williams on the bench to start overtime and then tournament game one.
That's not on Game 1, Brian. Let's we're not on Game 1. Hey, Brian, we're going to take a quick break, hear from Tony B. When we come back, we'll go right back to your calls. 865-200-5402. You're listening to the Garza Law Tennessee Basketball Overtime here on the Tony Basilio Network and Tony Basilio platforms.
I'm not going to argue with
we got to get Holy Joe needs to
by Marcos Garza and your Garza Law Firm online at garzalaw.com. Your go-to law firm, whether it's DUI defense, criminal defense, personal injury, Social Security, disability, or any of a myriad of subjects. When you run afoul or when you need a great lawyer, you don't want to trust just anyone. You need the Garza Law Firm, treating East Tennesseans, hundreds and hundreds strong, like family. The most trusted and competent folks in the biz, available 24/7 at garzalaw.com. Shout out to our friends at T3 Vodka. Score a T3 every time this basketball season with Tennessee's premium vodka, handcrafted with passion and precision and a whole lot of volunteer state love. Right in the majesty of the Great Smoky Mountains, filtered 10 times, 80 proof, delivering a smoothness unmatched, a dedication to excellence. You got to try it and see why. T3 is a 5-time gold medal winning vodka, 2025 Sitz Consumer Choice Medal winner. Whether you're sipping it neat, on the rocks, or mixing your favorite cocktail, T3 is the way to go. Score a T3 every time with T3 Vodka, distributed by Athens Distributing Company. Shout out to Waterside Contracting. Maybe you have a dream about buying some land. My friends at Waterside will take incredible care of you. 25 years of making dreams come true, Michael Scott. Hundreds in our area. Whether it's custom homes or remodels, Waterside Contracting will build on your lot. They do incredible work all over the area. Structural integrity, quality without compromise. Check out the website, watersidecontractingllc.com. And when it's time for a fresh coat, you better run, don't walk, to Walker's Painting. Interior and exterior, Walker's Painting, making it beautiful since 1999 all across your Knoxville area. New construction repaints and commercial with and residential as well. Free estimates available. Mention you heard about it right here on Garza Law Tennessee Basketball Overtime. 10% off your first job. Let's go. Run, don't walk to Walker's Painting, 865-688-1410. Now we get you back to the action here on Garza Law Tennessee Basketball Overtime.
I know I'm in here doing the show tonight, but I would encourage people, if you're not driving, if you're just sitting at the house, going over to YouTube to Tony Basilio's deal, and as the show is going on, pulling up the comments and watching the live comments, and I'll try to get some in here, potentially some tonight. But Brian, would it shock you to know that the people were a little bit angry at Negative?
Negative evokes anger, and he seems angry a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah, it looks like Dave's in the chat. VFL Trevor mentions talked about the free throws. Yeah, that was not good. That was one of the big things for me is, and again, that could just be a one-game anomaly. It's just so hard to spot trends in a one-game deal. But certainly, Brian, the free throws have to be better. Tonight, the Vols at the free throw line, 7 of 17. That will get you beat in a meaningful game.
You cannot
Excuse me. Sorry, that was threes. I apologize. 9 for 15, but still missing way too many free throws. I think they were like 3 of 7 at one point. You've got to be better at the line.
you have to get to the line and you have to make your first free throw before the second half, because I think they've done that in back-to-back games now. One didn't count, but yeah, that is a concern. And I don't know if it's just if they learn when the guards learn how to play together, when the team learns how to play together, they're more cohesive. Maybe you'll see more free throws early in the game. Maybe they'll hit some of them.
As we've got a development here.
Arizona beats Florida.
Yep. I was just making sure somebody had commented that. Yeah, Arizona takes down Florida. Number 13, Arizona takes down number 3, Florida, 93-87. So a lot of kind of not so great games going on in this opening night of college basketball, but a couple good ones as well. Let's go back to the phones now. Let's hear from you. You're listening to Tennessee Basketball Overtime, presented by the Garza Law Firm. Welcome in. That's you.
Hey, guys, this is Sharpie.
Hey, Sharpie.
Hey, Ament, I noticed in the Duke game, even though, as Dave pointed out, he was not efficient shooting, even against their talent, he could get a shot off anytime he wanted to against Duke. And Gillespie could not. And when we play in the conference, I think it's going to be the same way. Maybe he can improve, but he did not look good against Duke. But I never get to really call you guys during the week. I was wondering if I could talk a little bit about this Heupel situation.
I would love to talk about it, but we can't do that on this show. So if you can try to find a way to call or do the post game with Tony, we got to keep this on basketball.
Okay, guys, thank you.
I appreciate you being there. Sorry about that. I know that'd be a popular topic, but Bri, as you know, if we open that can of worms, we'll never get back to basketball here. One thing about Ament to me, I was making some notes, kind of mental notes, Brian, during the game. I thought he got into a nice flow tonight. He looked more comfortable as the game went on. You saw him take some of those little corner 15, 20-foot jump shots, just pure, that high release at that level. I don't care if he's in the NBA, he's going to be able to get that shot. And so if he can hit that shot with consistency, particularly in the college and the SEC, he's going to be fine. Again, like I said earlier, I thought as good of a scorer as he can be, I think he's really got a chance to be a great playmaker and get others involved if he can get the ball out in the break. He looked comfortable when he would come out of there with a rebound and bring the ball up court. I also think he's going to draw a lot of fouls. I think this is going to be something to watch. I think they said he drew 7 fouls against Duke. We saw some fouls tonight. What's interesting about him is while he's bigger, and you see this in the NBA, Shaq, LeBron, some of these big, strong guys get hacked, and there's no call, and these little guards, they get breathed on, and they're going to the line. While Ament is a big dude, height-wise, he is so thin that we saw tonight guys that were much smaller than him just kind of leaning into him and putting their weight on him physically moved him. And obviously you don't want that. You want him to be stronger. But I think at times that's going to play to Tennessee's advantage because you can't hide a foul against him. If you've got Estrella or Carey or somebody down low and you're kind of putting your body weight and kind of pushing and shoving on them, you got to do it pretty blatantly or the guy's got to flop for it to get called. But with Ament, you touch the guy and he's not completely on balance, he's gonna fall or he's gonna get kind of shoved forward. And we saw several calls on that tonight, even when he wasn't really in the act of shooting or anything. And I think that's going to work against him or for the Vols because he's just such a mismatch that you're gonna have to put some different kind of bodies on him. And I think that'll be interesting as we get into SEC play and kind of meaningful games to keep an eye on. Let's go back to the phones. Welcome in our next caller. Yep, that's you.
What's up? It's Zach in E-Town.
What's up, Zachy?
Thanks for doing the show tonight. Hey, let me ask you this. This year's team versus any other Barnes' team, it's like an inverse. Now we got all these bigs, and we got, somewhat questionable play at the point where normally our question marks is front court, no size, but we're jamming from the arc. So, is that something have you thought about that so far this year, that it's kind of like an inverse to some of the other teams?
I haven't really thought about it being an inverse. I have thought. I just watching that Duke game, I looked about quarter way through that game, I was watching it with Tony, and I looked right at Tony and said, I think this is the most depth we've had and the biggest we've been down low in Barnes' entire tenure. Like, there may not be a Grant Williams Player of the Year down low for Tennessee, but I don't know that we've ever had the quality of depth. I mean, you got 4 or 5 guys down there that I would feel pretty comfortable playing, 10 to 15 minutes on any given night. And so many teams, they get one big man in trouble or in foul trouble, and their team's in trouble. That's not the case with the Vols. I do think, and perhaps I'll be proven wrong in this, I do think that they've been a little hard. We, as a fan base, maybe have been a little hard on Gillespie through 2 games. I mean, he didn't shoot the ball well tonight, but and he turned the ball over too many times. I think he had 4 turnovers, but he had 6 assists. And the last caller talked about him not being able to get his shot. I don't know that I believe that. Now, he may not be the best at that, but I mean, ZZ's quicker than him. But ZZ's several inches shorter. I mean, Gillespie's going to be able to shoot over some guys. And again, when he's running straight, kind of vertically up and down the court, to me, I think he's fast enough to lead breaks and get points that way. So I think, again, some of these turnovers are gel issues where he's throwing a ball and a guy's not quite ready, or maybe he thinks the guy's going to be in one spot. I'm not super worried about having a couple too many turnovers on the first game of the season. I think, as well as he shot the ball the rest of his college career, particularly if you look at last year, I'm not worried. I think these shots are going to fall. We talked about it after the Duke game, Zach. I don't think where Ament and Gillespie both shot poorly, and the Vols were still in it late, even kind of playing some funky lineups, I don't think you're going to see a bunch of nights where both of those guys shoot poorly, and tonight they didn't. Ament shot well. Gillespie shot poorly. Yeah. I don't think the Gillespie we've seen through 2 games is the real Gillespie. I'm not as worried as maybe you and some other callers tonight have been.
I'm not worried. I just know that here's the deal. So, it's a small sample size, yada, yada. But you can recognize a pattern where, we've gotten kind of beaten offensive glass, turnovers, and not good free throw shooting. And we just watched a pretty high-level game between Florida and Arizona. So I hope we can get this stuff cleaned up before we play, I guess, in that tournament, which is out in Vegas, I believe probably over Thanksgiving. We got 2 weeks to get this thing going. And, I mean, here's the biggest takeaway from tonight. I'm just glad, we've got a coach, Rick Barnes, who looks like he's at a decent weight. He looks like he's in shape. So based on the show I listened to earlier today, it sounds like that's a big deal. So we got a good slim coach, and I believe he'll get us ready for. I'm not sure who we've got in that tournament. Maybe you guys do, but it was. It's been an interesting start to the season. So we'll check you in a couple games. All right, dude.
All right, I appreciate you being there, Zach. Yeah, Brian, do you have the schedule up in front of you? If not, I'll pull it up real quick.
Kentucky, Rice, and I think one other team before they go to Vegas.
Sorry.
North Florida, I think, is the other team.
But do you have who they're playing in that in that?
Oh, they're playing Rutgers and Houston, guaranteed.
Okay, yeah,
they're playing Rutgers first and Houston, and then somebody else is the third game, and that's to be determined.
Gotcha. All right, let's go back to the phones.
And by the way, could you see Rick Barnes with a beard?
No, nor could I see him with like a 3-day stubble. Let's go back to the phones. Welcome in.
Gino Bozo.
Brian, every time you're on here with me, it happens. Back to the phones we go. That's you.
Yeah, man, it's Bobby. I hope I don't waste your time like that last caller there.
Appreciate you, Bobby.
Of course, then again, I typically do that anyways. I just watched most of that Florida and Arizona game. Those 2 teams are on a hold. I thought our 18 ranking was a little low, but after watching Arizona, because I said show me 18 teams better than Tennessee. I just saw 2 of them. That was a high-level college basketball game, and we're not on that level. Not yet. I'm not saying we won't be. I'm not negative. I'm not firing Rick Barnes today. But
thank you.
But I'm telling you now, those 2 teams are legit. And I thought it was an astute, Zach Anytown with the astute observation. It does feel a bit inverted from, Rick Barnes' teams now, but if you go back to Texas, that was his shtick. When he had Ogden down there, Chris Ogden, wasn't that his name?
You think about LaMarcus Aldridge and those guys?
Yeah, and I mean they had powerful front courts.
Yeah.
So yeah, it may be different than what we've seen here, but it's not different than what Rick Barnes has done in the past. And I mean, Nate Ament's not a forward; he's a guard in a forward's body right now. He's got a nice stroke, but is Felix Okpara the best 3-point shooter on our team? I'm not sure, but right now he looks it, doesn't he?
Brian made the point. Is he like 2 of 2 or 3 of 3 in his career now here?
Yeah, I think he's 2 of 2.
I don't think he's missed one.
He's never missed one, but he's only taken 2 in actual games. The other one was against Duke the other day. But I mean, all kidding aside, I like what we're working with. I think that we're going to be a Sweet 16 type team, but I was surprised at how badly we defended Mercer. Would you agree with that? And how poorly we rebounded in that second half. It was bad.
Yeah, the rebounding was concerning. A lot of loose balls kind of tipped around, and you don't come up with them, especially with how big you are and what we're talking about offensively, how strong you are in the post, to then kind of have that be a bit of a weak point in some areas tonight. That's not ideal, that's for sure.
I don't know if we have a commanding rebounding presence yet. Have we discovered who that is yet? I guess it should be Okpara.
And that's the thing, Bobby. I think it is Okpara, but again, when he plays 15 minutes and you're kind of tooling around, seeing what else you got down there. I mean, we know Estrella's going to play a lot. I think he played like 20 minutes. I mean,
Estrella's closer to a 3 than he is a 5. Wouldn't you agree?
I don't know, man.
The way he plays, he's more finesse.
I mean, he's definitely more new age than a guy like Phillips is, where Phillips is just kind of like, I don't care, give me the scraps, I'm going to go up there and dunk it. There is some more finesse and some more, I don't want to say this because it sounds like a bad connotation, but a little more skill in his offensive repertoire than maybe a guy like Phillips or Okpara. But, I mean, I saw one of the strongest post moves that I'd seen all night tonight from Estrella when Estrella kind of backed the guy kind of where the SEC logo is, about 10 feet from the basket, took 2 or 3 dribbles and just kind of beat and banged and shoulder banged the guy until he just kind of laid it up over top of him and kind of powered through him. And that, to me, I mean, that's I don't know. I think he's got plenty of ability down low. And to me, he looks like his body is stronger this year.
Well, that would give you that. I think he worked out a lot in the off season, especially when he was hurt. But all that to say, I don't want to use the word soft yet, but for as big as we are, we're not as tough as I was hoping we would be. Like a team like Mercer, you're favored by 28.5 and you win by half that. That's not a great look. Of course, I feel like Rick Barnes in the second half is letting his team kind of do whatever they want because we were beating Duke, right? And he just kind of like let them do whatever they want. And I wondered if he's letting them learn that, hey, if you work within our system, you'll be successful. If you don't, you won't. But with that said, guys, I've talked enough. I'm about to lose my voice again. That's a leftover from Saturday night. I'll leave it at that. Guys, Alex, thanks for being there. Brian, thanks for being there. You boys have a good one.
You too. Thanks, Bobby. Let's get another quick commercial break. We got one line available. As soon as we come back, we'll go straight to the phones. And you're listening to the Garza Law Tennessee Basketball Overtime.
Basketball Overtime presented by Marcos Garza, your Garza Law firm, online at garzalaw.com. Whether it's DUI, defense, criminal defense, or personal injury, or maybe Social Security disability, Garza Law has you covered, as they've got tremendous folks that are a part of this community. They live, work, and worship right here and you want to trust Marcos Garza and the Garza Law Firm. Online 24/7 and available for you at garzalaw.com. And Living Vol fan, make Alumni Hall your one-stop shop for all the Vol fans on your shopping list this season. Nothing better than getting your favorite Tennessee gear under the tree, maybe a nice polo shirt, maybe a new hoodie, something for the man cave. Check out Alumni Hall, the best selection of Tennessee gear. 3 Knoxville locations, 1 in Bristol, 1 in Johnson City, 1 in Murfreesboro, and anytime at alumnihall.com. Have yourself a big orange ho-ho holiday and enjoy the season from Alumni Hall, the ultimate volunteer shopping experience. And how about a shout out to our friends at Calhoun's, the taste of Tennessee. Of course, you know about our Friday tradition there during football season, but Calhoun's makes it a tradition all year round. And remember, their family packs at the holiday time of the year, they've got you covered at Calhoun's, and boy, do they. Go over to tclub.team, check out the link, or head over to their website and see what they have to offer. But absolutely incredible. Calhoun's, there's one near you. And remember, whenever you're hosting during the holidays, Calhoun's, a party platter, always a great way to go. They're going to take wonderful care of you at Calhoun's. And shout out to our friends at TLD Logistics. So much more than a trucking company. TLD Logistics does everything. Whatever your challenges are relating to shipping, call TLD. They're going to figure it out from there. They're online at tldlogistics.com. And shout out to our friends at Connexial, Knoxville's own transportation logistics tech company, proud sponsor of the My20 Drive of the Game right here on our Garza Law Tennessee Basketball Overtime. Connexial, revolutionizing your trucking industry nationwide right from their downtown Knoxville headquarters. We're going to have safer roads, improve the safety scores of your fleet, make drivers happy, maximize your profitability. KONEXIAL.com. And now, without further ado, let's get back to the busy show here on Garza Law, Tennessee Basketball Overtime.
Thanks, Tony B. Couple quick I lied. We're going to go to a couple quick quotes from Rick Barnes before we go back to the phones. Rick Barnes on Nate Ament is from Ryan Shumpert. He's stuck with it. He's going to learn to play against scrappy guards. You look at his line besides the 3 turnovers, that's a good night. From Russ Rucker, Tennessee coach Rick Barnes said he's still trying to trim the rotation on this deep roster, but that freshman Dwayne Brown III and Troy Henderson are, quote, definitely in the rotation, said they've earned it. So again, kind of what I alluded to earlier, it's hard to judge. You can judge some things and take some things away from a game like this, but when people are calling in and comparing the game tonight versus the Florida and Arizona game, you may be right. Bobby may be right. Those two teams may be on a totally different level than Tennessee right now. They may be. I didn't watch it. I was watching the Tennessee game, so I'm not going to act like I know what happened in that game. But it's obvious that both of those teams are going to raise each other's level. You're probably not playing 11 or 12 guys in that game if Tennessee's playing one of those two teams tonight. So, again, it's just one of the fun parts about these early season games is whatever you want to take away, you can kind of talk yourself into it, and perhaps I'm doing that. Perhaps you're doing that yourself. Let's see what our next caller has to say here on the Garza Law Tennessee Basketball Overtime. Welcome in.
Boys, I basically say we should just call the season off right now. That's my take. Don't you think so, Brownie?
Yeah, I mean, there's no need to show up when they play one of those teams that Alex was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, just call it a day, and I don't know. We can just do concerts at TBA anytime we have a ball game scheduled.
We're not allowed to get better.
No, definitely not that. We played. We had 11 guys play 12 minutes or more. That I'm assuming would not be the plan long term.
No, that's and that's what I'm saying. You're not. I don't know. I mean, obviously Tennessee did not play their best. Obviously, Rick Barnes is going to have a ton to talk about and to implement and practice when they go back and watch this film. I'm not trying to polish this up to be something it wasn't, but again, this was Tennessee could have kept the foot on the gas pedal a little bit more if they shrunk the rotation and did some things that if they were playing a different opponent, they might not have been afforded the luxury to do.
Yeah. And for the second game in a row, I mean, I know the last one wasn't a game, but the second time in a row that we've seen this team play, they didn't run a single set in the second half of either ball game. They're just running some motion and they're moving the ball around, but they're not running set plays to get guys the ball here or running guys off screens to get isolation. They're not trying to get forced switches. They're not doing anything stupid. We out rebounded them by 20 some. I know they got some offensive rebounds because that team was really good when the ball was rebounded to come in and slap it away and make it a loose ball more than a rebound. But 19 turnovers to 5. That's the only thing to really take away is Rick Barnes loved what happened tonight because he gets to go into practice tomorrow and chew out guys for all the turnovers. He gets to make guys be mad at themselves. But Gillespie, I mean, he was 2 of 6 from 3. Seems, I mean, he got his shot off in the Big Ten. I think that's kind of ludicrous that he can't get his shot off. There's not a whole lot to take away except you're going to probably see 9 guys going forward play 12 or more in a real basketball game. Maybe definitely not 11. But you're right. The 4 bigs, I guess. Phillips, Estrella, Akpara, and then Brown or Carey, one of those 2 guys will be the 4 bigs that play the most. And then you would think Berg, Ament, Gillespie, and then somebody else will be the 4th guy that rotates a ton on the wings in the guard position.
Yeah, and that's, Rusty, that's the biggest kind of intrigue I have is who fills those minutes. Because that's the real question. I mean, I think Akpara, Estrella, Phillips, those 3 guys are fairly easily, without question, your top 3 bigs. But I don't think the drop-off's that big when you go to a Brown or a Carey for a few minutes. I don't think the drop-off's that big.
No, it's not bad at all. Those guys can play.
But if like a Mint or Gillespie have to sit, who fills those as their guard minutes? I do think the potential for a huge drop-off is there. So somebody has to step up, whether that's Henderson, whether that's Boswell, Abrams. Yeah, I mean, one of those guys is going to have to step up, and potentially it's a by committee. Maybe it's a deal where one guy one night, another guy the next night. I tend to think that you're better off if you can get consistency out of 1 or 2 of those guys versus
you want to narrow it down.
Yeah, I mean,
you want to narrow it down and have one guy get 28 minutes and somebody else get 8.
Yeah, but I think that's the biggest question, and I think that's probably Rick Barnes and the staff's biggest challenge between now and SEC play over the next month and a half or so is to figure out who can you count on, and especially when you get in a tough situation, against a Houston, against a Rutgers in that tournament coming up, who do they go to then? To me, that will tell you a lot more by how one of those.
Yeah. You
look at the rotations in any one of those games in that tournament, that will tell you more than probably the next 2 or 3 games combined will.
1,000%. We're not going to know anything playing the Sisters of the Poor, the directional schools, top things, the Southern Conference schools. We're not getting anything out of that, and that's okay. One thing that I think people are going to be surprised about when it really starts mattering, you can play Estrella and Akpar together because both of those guys obviously can leave the paint and go linger around the 3-point line and take a defender away from the basket. And space, you can still space the full floor with all 5 guys out with those 2 bigs on the floor. And that's something we have not had.
Well, but I also think it's not only going to be a luxury that you have the ability to do. I think it's going to be necessary because I think you're going to get some.
Sorry about that.
I think you're going to get better looks with a Mint if you're able to pull one of those guys out on the wing and have him drive in against a lane that's more vacated. If you've got 2 6'10", 7-footers in there and their man guarding them, that there's a lot less room for a guy like him to operate. Which again is why I think any chance you get to get a Mint out in transition, whether that's running down the side, streaking towards the basket without the ball, or leading the break down the middle of the center court, kind of facilitating. I think anytime you can do that, get him operating in space, playing more of that pro game style where you're getting up and down, I think the better you are.
What I would like to see in these cupcake games is what you just said, because I talked about it after the Duke game. But what I want to see is get Estrella and Akpara both like 5 threes a ball game each in these cupcake games, to where other teams see it on tape that they will take them. Because in the Duke game, Ament got to 4 feet from the basket over and over again off the bounce, and then he got there, and the other big defender was waiting for help. And you get in these cupcake games and you prove you got bigs that can stretch the floor. Well, that help defender, like you just said, won't be there, and I'll take a mint at the rim one-on-one with about anybody. I don't like him against 2 bodies in there because his body's not built to go against a 7-footer at the rim. But if that 7-footer's not waiting because he's having to guard a stray in the corner or a card top of the key, great. And hey, nobody's been on Boswell being a player last year and getting minutes more than me. The kid went 1 for 2 from 3 tonight, made both of his free throws, played really good defense, had 8 rebounds. I mean, I don't want him getting 30 minutes a night, but I mean, if he can give you that stat line and just be a threat from 3, which he was tonight, it clearly looks like his shot has improved based on even the one he missed. His form is much, much better than it was last year. So if you only got to play him 8-10 minutes and let him play defense, you can be okay with him getting on the court now. At least I wasn't okay with him being on the court when he played last year, but seems like we beat Florida with him playing a lot last year because we had 2 guys. We had Akpar and Ziegler out, I think. But nevertheless, this is the Collins show after the first game of the year, and any kind of definitive statements are a little ridiculous.
Can't argue with that, Rusty. Hey, thanks for being there.
Yeah, man.
Brian, does it surprise you that the tone and tenor of tonight's show? Well, I was going to say it was negative. It was kind of negative for the first few callers, but I think since then most callers have been much more optimistic. I think the tone was set early, but I think numbers-wise, more callers have been fairly kind of rational, I think, than maybe the tone feels like.
Well, the first caller was you-know-who. And, of course, you're going to get a different feel when Negative leads off. So, yeah, that's kind of what he's going to do. And then I think that was the way the post-game was first game last year because he led off and a couple guys led off like this team stinks and we can't play. And then everyone else is like, calm down, guys. I'll be fine. And they ended up in the Elite Eight. So if we have that type of year again this year, I think I'll be happy with it.
Let's go back to the phones, 865-200-5402. First time in a while there is an open line, a singular open line back again, 865-200-5402 if you want to get in and express your thoughts on tonight's ball game. Welcome into our next caller.
Hey, Brownie boy, we're talking about last year.
Oh, boy. I'm sure this will be positive.
So are we talking about last year, Brian? Is that what you said?
Go ahead, Paulie. What you got for us?
Why don't we talk about 42 years? What's more of a term? 42 years or 1 year, Brian? Boy, lucky he's got the first weekend.
Paulie, I got a question for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
What's longer, 42 years or this phone call? I'll answer that one. Welcome into our next caller. There are times and places, Paulie, we're not. I'm sorry, I love you, buddy. We're not doing that tonight. Welcome into our next caller.
What's up, boys? This is Lee.
Save us, Lee. Save us. Or be a respite. Be a respite for a moment.
Man, I don't know if that's me, but I'm definitely I'm not too worried about the team right now after one game against Mercer. Yeah, like don't compare it to Arizona and Florida. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah, those are like two top 10 teams that want to get up and down the court, and both teams are going to oblige, and it's going to look real pretty on television. Like, you put Tennessee on the court with those guys, it's going to be a completely different game. Like, yeah, I wouldn't worry about comparing those games. Look, there's no need to worry about Gillespie. Gillespie's going to be just fine. The kid's a baller, man. Like, we got a large enough sample size to see what he can do. My only thing is, I think we're going to end up having to need him like extremely high usage rates. Like, he's going to have to be a scorer on this team. I don't know like what their plan is going into these games right now, but we're just kind of work through things. But I think when things start to get real, I think you're going to see his usage rates go up considerably. Like, he's going to have to start shooting more, and he can score. I mean, well, but I'm not too worried about the kid.
Well, and here's another thing, and we saw it a couple of times, whether it was big to big or guard to big. They didn't do it much, and like one of them was the ball was about to go out of bounds, and there was just kind of a give and go that was real pretty. It was it wasn't planned that way, I don't think, but as good as ZZ was at penetrating, his best go-to thing at times was just that pick and roll lob to Okpara, and if they faded off towards Okpara, he would just finish at the rim. And at his height, if he can do that, you got to think Gillespie can fill that role as well. And it's not even something that they've not even really done through kind of 2 games. But Gillespie, I mean, again, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. I don't think I'm going to be wrong about this. Gillespie's going to be able to score. He's going to be fine. To me, that's not. If there are worries about this team, it's not Gillespie. He's going to be all right.
Yeah, it's not Gillespie, it's not Amin, it's not Okpara. Like, those are the guys that are going to carry you. Like, Gillespie's like, he's top 4 or 5 point guard in the country at worst, so he's going to be just fine. I don't think they're running a whole lot of stuff right now. Like, I think you haven't seen anywhere close to what they've got in the bag. Like, do that. I think tonight was basically another scrimmage, just watching them play. That Barnes brought in Steve McClain on the bench as assistant coach. I've heard a lot of people talk about this, but that guy's like, he's like a known, like, coach, like shot doctor. Like, he's really respected in the coaching profession. He's been around a long, long time, almost as long as Barnes has been. I think they're going to have some different stuff. We just haven't seen it yet. I just think they're trying to figure out rotations and try to get people comfortable on the court with each other. I think that's why it looks kind of disjointed at times.
Yeah. I mean, it's part of. It's frustrating watching these kind of. Tony calls them. There's different things you can call them, but kind of the bye games, right? The BUY games. There are frustrating parts about it, and one of the things is it's hard to tell what you're seeing, what's real, what's not, and then if you have somebody that has an opposing view, they could be right, you could be right, but you both can kind of talk yourselves into being right, because again, there's just so many variables that, hey, if this was a more winnable game for the opponent, how does Rick Barnes handle this? What's their actual strategy? Are they implementing their sets? Are they doing this and they're doing that? While if you're on the other side of that, you could say, well, it doesn't matter. You should beat this team anyways. So it's part of the fun, but it's part of what's infuriating about these early season basketball games. I tend to think it's fun, because I'm just glad to have basketball back and be able to engage in this kind of fun debate. I love it.
I'm on like hour 13 of watching basketball today, so I like have all these conversations with all my other like hoop junkie friends about these different teams and which ones look good and which ones don't, and you realize it's like November the 3rd. I honestly, like, the biggest thing with me is the fact that we've got depth like on our front court, and there's like a new wave like in college basketball. It's not really the pace and space stuff so much anymore. It's keeping those two big guys on the court. How always having that can run the court, always having a guy that's protecting the rim, and we've got the personnel to do that. And it's to me that's exciting, because I don't think we've really had that the last couple of years. So anyway, I was just wanting to call because driving back, it was a little negative, but hopefully it'll get better.
I appreciate you. Have a good one.
All right. See you, boys.
Couple open lines. We are at the 1 hour mark, and just as The Vols aren't playing their best competition. I'm not going to leave it on the line on a school night / work night, and we're not going to go football post game and do 2 hours of this. So that being said, we got one more quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap this thing up. So if you'd like to get in, call now, and we'll get you in before we get out. 865-200-5402 is the number. Call now before we wrap this thing up. We'll be right back. Let's hear from Tony real quick.
We'll get you back to Garza Law, Tennessee basketball overtime momentarily. Want to remind you that Garza Law, they are, ladies and gentlemen, the presenting sponsor of this here activity. They're online at garzalaw.com, your go-to law firm. When it comes to DUI defense or criminal defense, personal injury, Social Security disability, you don't want to trust yourself, your family, your situation to just anyone. Trust it to people that are live and local, boots on the ground. They work, worship, play, shop with us right here in East Tennessee. Also, special shout out to our friends at VIP Play. You can go claim your VIP Play welcome bonus. You make a bet of $20, you get $100 in bonus bets. The promo code, the phrase that pays, is TNTony. Again, TNTony. And remember, 200 leagues, live always, whether it's NFL, NBA, NHL, college hoops, college football, what have you, MLB, they've got you covered over at VIP Play. All the props, all the options, all the numerous bet types, anything that you want or need, VIP Play has you covered. Special shout out to our friends over, ladies and gentlemen, say it, know it, and write it down at WeShipFloors.com. Based out of Johnson City, We Ship Floors, home of your Tennessee Hardwood Report. And boy, do they have some great hardwood. 120 Supercore floors to choose from. You can drop them virtually into your room anywhere around the world, and they will ship to you anywhere for free at WeShipFloors.com. They are Tennesseans. They are proud volunteers. Alan is a huge Vol fan. You see him at all the games. He's got a son at Tennessee. They're the real deal Holyfield. Millions of square feet in stock. Say it, know it, and write it down. WeShipFloors.com. And a special shout out to our friends over at Dos Equis. Cervezas Mexicanas. Look, you and I both know it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for you to go for Dos Equis. With basketball season here, Tennessee fans know what it's all about. They know about their iconic traditions. They know about filling Thompson Bowling Arena. They know about going far in March. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, go for Dos 2025 Cervezas Mexicanas. And a special shout out to my friends at Performance Medicine. Performing my best at Performance Medicine. More information online at performancemedicine.net. They fuel us here in the Rainier studio. Check out their YouTube channel, Performance Medicine. A special shout out to Dr. Rogers and the entire Rogers clan. And you know who insures the Rainier studio? Josh Collins. And the Collins Insurance Agency. That's right. Home of Erie Insurance. Josh Collins and your Collins Insurance Agency. You can get insurance from just about anyone, right? But where are you going to get the Collins Insurance difference? You're going to get it from Josh Collins and the Collins Insurance Agency. And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get back and wrap up today's edition of Garza Law, Tennessee basketball overtime.
Thank you very much, Tony B., who is, as you can hear, putting in a little bit of work tonight, but handing over the reins to the backup to the backup to the backup to the backup. But I appreciate him letting me get in a few reps in here and having fun talking Vols, talking basketball, one of my favorite things to do. Him and Laura letting us do this. And Brian, you hopping in with me means the world, and I appreciate you as always. Brian, before we go back to the phones, again, last call here, 865-200-5402. We'll wrap this thing up if nobody else gives us a call, and we'll call tonight. But some interesting news happening right now in the world of college basketball. If Tennessee fans, some of them were negative tonight, what on earth do we think is going on in the Plains? We go live to Auburn, Alabama. Brian Hartman, you're tuned into that one. What's going on in Stephen Pearl's first game at the helm?
Well, Auburn is a 25-point favorite, and it is they are in overtime with Bethune-Cookman. It's 86-85. The Tigers just took the lead with 3:27 to go in overtime.
Good gracious.
So, but you know what? I would gladly, if I was coming off the Final Four, I'd be okay with going to overtime with Bethune-Cookman in the first game next year.
I don't know if their fans would be okay with that.
I don't think they even have fans anymore.
That place was packed tonight.
They ever did have fans, really.
That place was packed tonight for a game one. Of course, it's kind of easy. It's a lot easier to pack a place that what did that thing hold, like 7,000? And a shout out to the Vol fans. When they showed Thompson Bowling early on in that game, I don't know what the official number was. To me, it looked like there was probably 12, 13,000 people in there, Brian, on a Tuesday, a random Monday night against a
it looked like
opponent.
A full crowd, full house in the bottom part of the arena. So
yeah, I mean,
I don't know what the upper level looked like.
It wasn't full, but the few shots I saw before it started to empty out, I mean, it was just another example of Tennessee basketball fans. They sell out, I guess, the game that's not a game that doesn't count, the scrimmage. They sold out a scrimmage, and then they do that tonight on opening night. Just cannot say enough about this fan base. Brian, before we go to your final thoughts, as we don't have any more calls, so we'll wrap it up, but I thought a couple things that I jotted down in some notes here that I like to notice in the game, but nobody's really talked about. I thought Cade Phillips looked really good. He played well, and I think physically, just like I talked with Estrella, I think his body, I think he's gotten bigger. And I like watching Cade Phillips play, Brian, because I think Cade Phillips plays how your average Joe, and I include myself in this, how we'd all think that we would play if we had that capability. Like if we could play on like a Little Tykes goal, that's how we'd play, how Cade Phillips played. Everything that can be dunked is dunked, and it's dunked like 100%. Like I don't know if I've ever seen him lay a ball up. And he's not a guy like Estrella, like that's going to really stretch the floor, but I think that's totally okay with Barnes. He's a guy who's going to bring toughness, intensity. He leaves it all on the line, and that guy's never going to be accused of taking a night off. He might be my favorite player to watch on this team just because of how he plays, and I think I wanted to get that in there because I just we haven't talked about him, and perhaps we won't throughout the year a ton just because of the type of player. He's not a real flashy player, but it's just I don't know. Did you notice that as well, or anything else that we haven't talked about the callers didn't bring up that you might have noticed, Brian?
Well, I like watching Estrella play. He's another one that I think both those big guys, Phillips coming off the injury and Estrella, really showed well in the first half. And he sort of is the one that kind of helped Tennessee get a little bit of separation earlier. So hopefully those guys can have big years, and the post play certainly has a chance to be the best maybe that we've seen as far as just quality players they have. So here's a quick update. Auburn 90, Bethune-Cookman 85 with a minute and a half to play in overtime.
Well,
and it's a 90-88 game as Bethune just nailed a 3.
All right,
120
Brian.
to play.
All right, Brian. Should we stay on for a minute 20, or should we? I'll let you be the Matt Dixon. Should we stay on for a minute 20?
Keep us updated, as Dixie would say. Keep us updated, Brian. As now, well, it looks like Auburn's going to get an and one, so it's 92-88 with a minute to play, and they'll shoot a free throw. So maybe we can. I think Auburn's probably going to be okay.
Yeah, we'll let you guys discuss it on the show tomorrow if it does indeed happen. Tony and the lovely Mrs. B, I appreciate you guys setting us up for success down here and allowing us to come in here and do this and have the tools that we need. And to the callers, as always, thank you guys for participating, even the ones that maybe we disagreed with, because without you guys, the show doesn't happen. So thank you also to Marcos Garza and all the fine sponsors that Tony has. This has been the Garza Law Tennessee Basketball Overtime, 1-0 on the year. Again, Tennessee victorious 76-61 over Mercer. They will play again on Saturday, and of course, Tony B, one of us, will be right back here in the seat. We'll be here to talk about it, just as we will be every game throughout the season. As always, go Vols. Again, Tony Basilio will be back tomorrow from 11 to 1 on Fox Sports Knoxville. Thanks again, and go Vols.